Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Preeti Singh Dhot. I'm working as Associate Professor, Department of Internal Medicine, AIMS Bhatinda. And today I will be discussing the use of vitamin D in medical practice and what is new. So, vitamin D comprises a group of fat soluble secosterols. They are found naturally only in few foods such as fish liver oils, fatty fish, mushrooms, egg yolk, and liver. Vitamin D is a nutrient you need for good health. It helps body to absorb calcium and one of the main building blocks for strong bones. Now, what is vitamin D? Vitamin D is represented by cholecalciferol, that is vitamin D3, and ergocalciferol's vitamin D2, which are found in plants, fungi, yeast. Vitamin D3 is produced by the action of sunlight on 7-dehydrocholesterol in the skin. So this flowchart shows the endogenous or dietary origin of vitamin D hydroxydated in the liver at carbon 25 to yield 25 hydroxy. Compound circulates in the blood and in the kidneys. And then in the kidneys, it is oxidized to 1-alpha 25 hydroxy D. Functions of vitamin D. It reduces inflammation, blood pressure regulation, and it helps in insulin secretion. Vitamin D promotes absorption of calcium from small gut, maintains the blood level of calcium and phosphate for bone formation, mineralization, growth, and repair. It improves the muscle strength, the immune function, and the cell differentiation. Sources of vitamin D are the main sources are the sunlight, the dietary sources, and the supplements. So dietary sources include the fatty fish, the canned tuna, UV grown veggies, fortified juice orange, supplements, beef liver, cod liver oil, the fortified cereals, salmons, mushrooms, sardines, egg yolk, shrimp, yogurt, indigenous fish are the only dietary source of vitamin D. Now, what are the normal levels of vitamin D? Vitamin D deficiency is seen less than 25 nanomoles per liter, insufficient between or 25 and 50 nanomoles per liter, and suboptimal between 50 to 75 nanomoles per liter. Considered sufficient are levels in the range of 75 and less than 300 nanomole per liter. Presumed toxicity is seen in levels more than 300 nanomole per liter. Staging. Now, how do we stage this vitamin D deficiency? We have mild deficiency, moderate deficiency, and severe deficiency. Mild deficiency is when 25 hydroxy vitamin D is less than 20 nanogram per milliliter. Moderate deficiency when 25 hydroxy vitamin D is less than 10 nanogram per milliliter. And severe deficiency is when it is 25 hydroxy vitamin D is less than 5 nanogram per milliliter. So need for supplementation. Most adults need vitamin D supplements because sunlight exposure and diet alone are not sufficient. And to maintain a desirable serum 25 hydroxy D level more than equal to 75 nanomole per liter throughout the year. So recommended daily intake varies, and according to the Vitamin D Council, the recommended daily intake in infants is 1,000 international unit per day, children 1,000 international unit per day, and adults 500 international unit per day. 1 microgram is equal to 40 international units. According to the Endocrine Society, the infants, the daily requirement is 400 to 1,000 international unit per day. In children, 600 to 1,000 international units per day, and in adults, 1,500 to 2,000 international units per day. Now, etiology, why the deficiency of vitamin D occurs. There is a decreased dietary intake or there is decreased absorption. Certain malabsorption syndromes such as celiac disease, short bowel syndrome, gastric bypass, inflammatory bowel disease, chronic pancreatic insufficiency, and cystic fibrosis may cause deficiency of vitamin D by decreasing the absorption. Lower vitamin D intake orally is more prevalent in the elderly population. Decreased endogenous synthesis. Individuals with chronic liver disease such as cirrhosis can have defective 25 hydroxylation leading to deficiency of active vitamin D. Defect in 1-alpha 25 hydroxylation can be seen in hyperparathyroidism, renal failure, and 1-alpha hydroxylase deficiency. Increased hepatic catabolism. Medications such as phenobarbital, carbamazepine, dexamethasone, nifedipine, spironolactone spironolactone, clotrimazole, and rifampin induced. Decreased hepatic catabolism can be there, and hepatic P450 enzyme, which activate the degradation of vitamin D. End organ resistance. End organ resistance to vitamin D can be seen in hereditary vitamin D resistant rickets. Or decreased sun exposure. About 50 to 90% of vitamin D is absorbed through the skin via sunlight, while the rest comes from the diet. 20 minutes of sunshine daily with over 40% of skin exposed is required to prevent vitamin D deficiency. Decreased sun exposure leads to cutaneous synthesis of vitamin D declines with age. The dark-skinned people have less cutaneous vitamin D synthesis. Decreased exposure to the sun as seen in individuals who are institutionalized or have prolonged hospitalizations, and the use of sunscreens consistency leads to decreased vitamin D absorption. To summarize now, who are at risk? The breastfed infants, the older adults, the people with limited sun exposure, darker skin pigments, certain religious groups, people who are obese, pregnant women, and postmenopausal women are those who are at risk of vitamin D deficiency. At-risk groups also include the hospitalized patients. It increases with age, sun exposure, intake, renal injury, burn victims, and other risks in group includes pollution, use of sunscreen, spending more time indoor, living in big cities where buildings block the sunlight. Now, symptoms of vitamin D deficiency can be varied, and most of the symptoms can be explained with vitamin D deficiency, like fatigue, which is unexplained, bone pain, joint pain, muscle weakness and pain, muscle cramps, chronic pain, hypertension, then IHD symptoms, severe asthma in children and COPD in adults, and weight gain. Symptoms of vitamin D deficiency can affect nearly all the organ systems of the body, including respiratory infections. They can be restless sleep, depression, lack of libido in males and females, and difficulty in thinking clearly, and dementia. Now, vitamin D has been linked to cancer. Vitamin D has been linked to asthma, type 2, type 1 diabetes mellitus, hip or non-spinal fractures, depression. Vitamin D has been linked to Alzheimer's disease, autoimmune disease like multiple sclerosis, Crohn's disease, SLE, and rheumatoid disease. So this diagram shows the causes and the consequences of vitamin D deficiency. So the causes are the sunscreen, the latitude, winter season, medication and supplements like anti-seizure medications, glucocorticoids, rifampin, then hepatic failure, renal failure, nephrotic syndrome, obesity, then malabsorption, which involves the Crohn's disease, the Whipple's disease, cystic fibrosis, celiac disease, and liver disease. And the consequences of vitamin D deficiency can almost affect all the organ systems of the body. It can cause schizophrenia, depressions, infections like upper respiratory tract infections, help in flaring tuberculosis. Then there can be asthma and wheezing diseases, high blood pressure, congenital heart diseases, then syndrome X, autoimmune diseases like type 1 diabetes, MS, Crohn's, rheumatoid arthritis. Then there can be muscle weakness, muscle aches, osteoarthritis, osteoporosis, osteomalacia, and rickets. Vitamin D has been linked to various cancers, which involves the breast cancers, the colon cancers, prostate, and pancreatic cancers. So in the musculoskeletal system, due to vitamin D deficiency, there can be muscular pain and weakness. There can be muscle cramps, soft and tender bones, rickets and osteomalacia, osteoporosis, or osteoporotic fracture, especially in old postmenopausal women. Then it can involve the mental system, and the psychiatric complications can be anxiety, depression, lack of concentration, unexplained fatigue, or phobic disorders. The cardiovascular system manifestations can be in the form of hypertension, ischemic heart disease, arrhythmias, hypercholesterolemia, cardiomyopathies, congestive cardiac failure, or sudden death. Endocrine system involves type 1 and type 2 diabetes mellitus, weight gain. There can be metabolic syndrome and hypothyroidism. Vitamin D deficiency can present as benign positional vertigo, multiple sclerosis, dementia, Alzheimer's disease, or restless sleep. Vitamin D has been linked with prostatic cancer, breast cancer, colorectal cancer, lung cancer, pancreatic cancer, and ovarian cancers. Gastrointestinal system manifestations can be in the form of inflammatory bowel disease, infections, recurrent infections, cystic fibrosis, and celiac disease. Now, vitamin D deficiency has been linked to abortions, preeclampsia, toxemia, preterm baby, low birth weight baby, and eye can also be involved in vitamin D deficiency, leading to dry eye, visual disturbance, or macular degeneration. The dermatological complications of vitamin D can be in the form of psoriasis, vitiligo, atopic dermatitis, scleroderma, lupus vulgaris, and acne. ENT manifestations can involve flu, ear infections, and rheumatological infections can be like rheumatoid disease and SLE. Vitamin D has been repeatedly linked with cancer. Vitamin D regulates the cell growth. Laboratory experiments suggest that they prevent the unstrained cell multiplication or mitosis. So vitamin D reduces cell division by restricting the tumor blood supply or angiogenesis. It increases the death of the cancer cells, apoptosis, and limits the spread of cancer cells, that is metastasis. Vitamin D cancers associated with vitamin D deficiency are the prostatic cancers, the ovarian cancers, pancreatic cancer, lung, and colorectal cancers. Now, there is an effect of vitamin D is seen on insulin secretion. 1-alpha-20 dihydroxyvitamin D3 is considered to be a modular of insulin secretion. As vitamin D deficiency in rats is associated with marked impairment of insulin secretion, insulin secreting beta cells of the pancreas contain the vitamin D regulating protein calbidin D28K. Vitamin D and COVID-19. More than 100 years since the outbreak of the 1918 influenza pandemic, we are facing another pandemic of equal gravity, if not more. Many studies have reported that people who died of COVID-19 tended to have low levels of vitamin D. Majority of these people had other comorbidities as well. Age and health status, not just vitamin D levels, may have made people more vulnerable to poor health outcomes after being infected with COVID-19. Vitamin D deficiency may actually be considered a risk factor for sepsis and inflammatory disorders. Vitamin D deficiency contributes directly to the cytokine storm and ARDS. So vitamin D deficiency contributes directly to acute respiratory distress syndrome, and severe vitamin D deficiency was seen in all patients with ARDS. Vitamin D and COVID-19. Dozens of studies during last decade point towards the link between vitamin D deficiencies. Vulnerability to respiratory tract infections, it was but natural that this relationship was applied to COVID-19 infection, lungs being its main target organ. Treatment decreased the incidence of viral respiratory tract infections. Single center retrospective cohort study like deficient vitamin D status was associated with increased COVID-19 risk. Randomized trials may be, however, needed to determine whether vitamin D affects the COVID-19 risk. Now, associated clinical conditions along with this are the muscle weakness and falls, proximal muscle weakness, chronic muscle aches, myopathies, increase in falls. Recent studies have suggested that vitamin D supplementation at the dose between 700 and 800 international unit per day in a vitamin D deficient elderly population can significantly reduce the incidence of falls and fractures, whereas low vitamin D doses may have less effects. Bone density and fractures. The risk of osteoporosis may be reduced with adequate intake of vitamin D and calcium. Studies support the concept that vitamin D at doses between 700 and 800 international unit per day with calcium supplementation effectively increases the hip bone density and reduces the fracture risk. Autoimmune disease. Vitamin D supplementation is associated with a low risk of autoimmune disease. In a Finnish birth control study of 10,821 children supplemented with vitamin D at 20,000 international unit per day reduced the risk of type 1 diabetes by approximately 78%, whereas children who were at risk for rickets had a 3-fold higher risk for type 1 diabetes. In a case-controlled study of 7 million US military personnel, high circulating levels of vitamin D were associated with a lower risk of multiple sclerosis. Similar associations have also been described for vitamin D levels and rheumatoid arthritis. Now, role in cardiovascular disease. Vitamin D deficiency activates the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, predisposes to hypertension and left ventricular hypertrophy. Deficiency causes an increase in parathyroid hormone, which increases the insulin resistance secondary to downregulation of insulin receptors and is associated with diabetes, hypertension, inflammation, and increased cardiovascular risk. Role in reproductive health. Vitamin D deficiency early in pregnancy is associated with 5-fold increased risk of preeclampsia and has a role in all-cause mortality. Researchers concluded that having low levels of vitamin D less than 17.8 nanogram per ml was independently associated with an increase in all-cause mortality in the general population. So more vitamin D decreases the health problems like tuberculosis, low birth weight, hypertension, influenza, heart attacks, fractures, osteoporosis, type 1 diabetes, breast cancers, pancreatic cancers, renal cancers, and the colon cancers. Now, what are the investigations that will be required? We need to do a renal function test, the liver function test, parathyroid hormones, calcium, phosphate, alkaline phosphatase, and 25 hydroxy vitamin D concentrations to make a diagnosis. We have to exclude the renal disease, and iron deficiency commonly coexists. Now, diagnosis: serum 25 hydroxy vitamin D concentration, status and management. Now, less than 10 nanomoles per, less than 25 nanomoles per liter. If the tests have the vitamin D levels less than 25 nanomoles per liter, then high dose treatment initially is required, 3200 international unit daily for 8 to 12 weeks. Then long-term maintenance therapy required, that is 1600 international unit per day. If it is between 25 to 50 nanomole per liter, that is insufficiency, long-term maintenance treatment, that is 1600 international unit per day is required. If it is between 50 to 75 nanomole per liter, healthy, and give lifestyle advice to increase the sun exposure and the take diet that is rich in vitamin D, and more than 75 nanomole per liter is optimum. So management: if there is a deficiency less than 25, replace vitamin D, loading dose followed by maintenance. If it is insufficient between 25 to 50, consider replacement if glucocorticoids, osteopenia, or osteoporosis, or secondary human parathyroid hormone, or hypocalcemia, or there is chronic kidney disease, and then a maintenance dose has to be given. If it is replete more than 50, no need for replacement or continuous dose. And if it is toxic less than 150, check calcium and stop treatment. Now, upper levels of vitamin D. European Food and Safety Authority has established an upper level, total tolerable upper intake level, which is between 0 to 10 years, 25 microgram per day or 1000 international unit, and 11 years plus 50 microgram per day or 2000 international unit. And international unit also, these depending upon the amount of sunlight and the risk of adverse effects, the upper level could increase. It could also be noted that a higher dose of vitamin D might be needed, particularly in the elderly, to avoid optimum serum levels of 25 hydroxy D for optimal mineralization of the skeleton. And the adults also apply, this international units also apply to pregnant and lactating women. Now, risk of overtreatment. Hypervitaminosis D results from excessive consumption of vitamin D supplements, not from the consumption of usual diets. Toxic concentrations of vitamin D have not resulted from unlimited exposure to sunshine. So the risk of overtreatment, vitamin D toxicity is due primarily to the hypercalcemia caused by increased intestinal absorption of calcium and increased resorption of bone. It leads to formation of stones, renal calculi, and high consumption is associated with loss of appetite, nausea, increased thirst, and loss of weight. Now, the differential diagnosis that comes in the vitamin D deficiency is the celiac sprue, the cystic fibrosis, end-stage liver disease, inadequate sunlight exposure, lack of dietary intake, and the use of anti-epileptic medications. So the conclusion: vitamin D deficiency is more common. It can be prevented by promoting awareness, especially in high-risk groups. Sun exposure, safe 10 to 15 minutes per day, longer with darker skin, adequate intake of fortified products in diet, food fortification and supplementation and promising a new health strategy. Thank you.